Hello there friends, it's CS News Live. How are ya? In today's video we've got some hot topics. Valve's new rules are killing esports, Liquid needs to kick Yekindar, and b1t's secret pre-game ritual. Plus tons of other juicy updates from the world of CS2 as always, so without further ado, let's get straight to it. And I think we should kick off the episode with some quick and fun stats. After the group stage of IEM Cologne, it turns out that all maps except Nuke are more advantageous if you start on the T side. The highest win rates for T side are on Inferno and Vertigo, with teams winning 61.3 and 61.9% of rounds, respectively. This could be probably because of two things. First, CS2 and its maps became more T-oriented since we've got more riflers and entry fraggers playing better right now, while playing carefully on CT side is much harder. Or this might suggest that the teams are now focusing more on training their T side than their CT side. Or maybe this could be due to shorter match times, or is it because the new smoke mechanics make it harder to lock down specific areas and control map space? Anyways, thanks to Litify for providing the stats. Guys, if you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments below. Besides IEM Cologne, we'll soon have more top tier CS to watch. The full list of teams for the Blastfall Showdown has been revealed, and some notable names include Cloud9, FaceClan, Heroic, Falcons, M80, Complexity, BIG, and Gamer Legion. Just a quick reminder for you all, only 2 teams will qualify from this blast, and my money's honestly on Complexity and FaZe. The rest of the teams are a bit weaker in comparison, but I guess we'll find out for sure when the tournament kicks off on August 21st. And aside from the 2 qualifying spots for the Blast main tournament, teams will also be battling for prize money, as they do honestly in any tournament. But for pro players, there's another significant income source: stickers, both team and player ones. And you know what guys, according to various sources, during sticker sales on majors, players can earn anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000, depending on their team's performance and how popular the stickers are. And just today, with a small update, CS2 developers finally removed the Copenhagen major stickers from the store, ending their sales 111 days after release. Of course, you can still buy them on the market, but I guess for the teams, it's the stop of the money flow. Speaking of updates, some interesting lines of code were found again in the game files, this time related to the controversial snap tap feature which we discussed in many of other previous videos. The line is called Suspicious Shot and seems to hint at Razer's so-called legal cheats feature. Well, and you know what guys, what's really fun is that as soon as these lines surfaced online, many players who had recommended using SnapTap began to speculate that it might get banned soon, with potential penalties for those who will continue using it. Dataminer also found some code indicating that the game can now detect SnapTap usage. This might basically mean 2 things. First, Valve are just gathering data on players who use it, or perhaps there will be a cooldown of SnapTap feature preventing it from being abused. Yeah, and besides that, the update finally fixed the legal wallhack bug with the bomb, which had been around for like 2 weeks. Good job, Valve. And while the recent CS2 updates were aimed to improve gameplay, some new rules set by Valve are actually killing esports scene. The general manager of Complexity recently spoke about it. According to the new rules made by Valve, teams will only be notified about their participation 8 weeks before tournaments, making it pretty difficult for teams from Russia or USA or China to get visas in time. And yeah, speaking of China, imagine that there's a tournament in China, a major one for example, and teams will have only 8 weeks, which is 2 months to get visas, which is already kinda challenging to be honest. But what it feels like is that the rules seem to be designed to ensure most events take place in Europe. Jason Lake suggests extending this notification period from 8 weeks to 12 or 16 weeks, so all teams and players can comfortably secure visas and participate in global tournaments. And you know what, it's hard to disagree because we have visa issues at the moment when Dexter, for example, can't make it to Europe, or some American teams can make it on time and all that. And yeah, China is a whole another world. So let's just hope that Valve and tournament organizers gamers will do something about it. And now let's talk about another scandal, this time though not involving Valve. It all broke out during a live stream by Haley. In one of her games, a player intentionally ruined the match for the whole team just because they were playing with a girl instead of a guy. According to Haley, the player was griefing throughout the match, giving away enemy positions and shooting his teammates. After the clip went viral on Twitter, JL responded. He said he doesn't understand why FACEIT doesn't ban such players, suggesting that it might be because there are simply too many of them, around 20% of users. He referred to these players as Neanderthals who don't deserve to interact with people. On one hand, he's right, this kind of behavior is absolutely unacceptable and discrimination in any kind should be condemned. But on the other hand, his statement came across as pretty harsh. There should be a special report system, and people who will monitor that, like judges, like the community patrol system of some sort, I don't know. And yeah, speaking of Na'Vi players, another interesting story has surfaced. The team's coach, Blade, shared that before every match, B1t always says he wants to eat at McDonald's. The coach joked that maybe this ritual is the key to his success. For context, if you didn't know, B1t used to have a toy goat on his desk during games, but after organizers tried to take it away at the 2021 Major, he stopped bringing it to the tournaments to avoid any more issues. This new McDonald's ritual isn't against the rules, so if it works for him, why not? Many athletes have their own rituals, like swimmers who always listen to their favorite music before a race to calm down and focus, and other things. And the funniest part of the story came from Neo, a Polish coach, who said at one time one of his teammates, who was unnamed, didn't get his McDonald's before a game. And he got so mad and angry that they lost the match because of it. I mean, was this just a bit of trolling, or did it really happen? Who knows, but it's kinda fun. More on the topic of top teams, let's talk about Team Spirit. In a recent interview, Kassad expressed his doubts, saying that he believes Spirit won't reach the top 4 at the Shanghai Major. According to the analyst, Shiro is too dull of a player and Kassad doesn't seem him making much of an impact in the team's gameplay. However, on that podcast, THORIN disagreed with him, arguing that Spirit has a solid map pool and 2 of the best players in the world. Kassad also mentioned that Spirit is likely to only make it to the Challengers stage based on their RMR performances, adding that they've been underperforming lately and are far from the level they once had. On one hand, he has a point, the results in Cologne were indeed disappointing, but is that really a reason to write them off like one of the best teams in the world? What do you think, guys? Can Spirit make it past the top 4 of the Major, or were they just a one-tournament wonder? In the meantime, Dong has 3 MVP medals this year, more than any other player, and if now he's just out of form, what can they do? They have a lot of time left to prepare for the Major in Shanghai. Anyways, these old guys, Kassad and THORIN, they just might do it for the hype, for the clicks, for the media. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Yeah, and again in the same podcast, Kassad also mentioned that he thinks Liquid should consider replacing Yekindar. According to him, Yekindar is no longer putting up the same numbers as before, and his current performance leaves much to be desired. Kassad suggests to bring in Nerds from Heroic, who in his opinion is wasting his talent on the Danish roster. But THORIN meanwhile just said that Yekindar has to sit farther away from the monitor, basically because he's not just as sharp as he used to be, implying that it's the only way he can get into the game again. But THORIN didn't stop there, he went on to say that Karrigan is much stronger than Yekindar, and that Yekindar is just collecting a paycheck at this point. While it's kinda true that Marek's stats has dropped recently, I think that these old men are just yelling at clouds again. Yekindar brings a lot of impact to the team's plays. And since we mentioned Karrigan, we just have to share with you this interesting story about how he strives for the results. According to the Danish captain, right before Cologne he had to cancel his 2-year wedding anniversary just to grind 12 hours of CS, to prac and to train. He also said that he told his wife that he wouldn't be able to forgive himself if he didn't give his all at his 10th Cologne tournament. First, wow, it's Karrigan's 10th Cologne, nice. Second, we still don't know his wife's reaction, but I honestly think that they managed to work something out. Now, let's talk a little about the best rifler in the world. Nah, we're not talking about Donk or Melps. We're talking about one player that all analysts agree on, Niko, and he's insanely strong this season. If you look at the numbers, his performance as has improved by 10% after the roster changes. Considering he is already off top flight, that's a decent boost. What's also interesting is that in every matchup between G2 and Spirit, Niko consistently outperformed Donk. While everyone is focused on the rivalry between young talents, many are overlooking Niko, just because he's always too good. If the Bosnian is truly in his prime right now, G2 has a real shot at reaching the finals of both the Major and Cologne, and maybe even winning both of them. If Snax has indeed found the right approach to unlocking Niko's full potential, we could soon be talking about the G2 era. And don't forget about m0NESY, he is also pretty important for the team. Maui Snake on the same podcast with THORIN and Kassad shared that he believes Zywoo is genuinely selfish. This stems from the fact that he often plays for himself rather than for the team. Interestingly though, Zywoo has been playing more as a rifler lately instead of focusing on being an AWPer. Likely because an AWPer is more dependent on the team. This whole idea is backed by Zywoo himself in an interview where he mentioned that his mom taught him from a young age to always do things that benefit him and make him comfortable. On one hand, this might be true, every team needs a player who can carry the game and shape the team's playstyle around themselves. On the other hand though, it's nearly impossible to win solo nowadays, as shown by the results of teams like Spirit and the old Na'Vi with Simple. Even Blade has said that if you have players like Simple, you have to make sacrifices to suit their needs. And to wrap it up, let's talk about Maui Snake's thoughts on the strongest national teams that can compete in the World Championship. His top 3 picks are Russia, Denmark and Ukraine. The top 10 also includes Brazil, Turkey and Mongolia. Bruh, I guess that's easy to be Turkey or Mongolia because you basically have Eternal Fire and the Mongols. Rounding up the top 20 are the teams from UK, China and Australia. But guys, what do you think? If there was a World Cup on CS2, which country would dominate the competition? Write your thoughts in the comments below. And now, that's all for today. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and comment with whatever you like. And also, don't forget to follow our Twitter account. The link is in the description. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.